Greetings, one and all. This is Lloyd Brown giving full endorsement to
Stuck in Promotion Royal Blend Radio.
the station with integrity, the station with a difference. Remember me tell you, Lloyd Brown says so. Full Darcy.
Stuck in Promotion Royal Blend Radio.
We not stop till we drop. Zane, bless.
Paulette Williams from Out of Many Smile Jamaica Charity. I endorse 10-Star General and Sharon Mango from SPRB Radio Podcast. Check them out. Check them out. You won't be disappointed. Authentic music and hardcore love. Check them out.
I'm Janiceness, and I always tune in to the SPRB Radio Podcast with General Culture and Sister Sharon Mango. Yo, you don't have to take my word for it. Just tune in and catch the vibration. Yeah, this one is knockings.
This is DJ Maestro out of London, and I fully endorse SPRB Radio Podcast with 10-Star General and Sharon Mango. Check them out. Trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Yes, this is Jerry Harris. I want to fully endorse the SPRB Radio Podcast with 10-Star General and Cheryl Mango. You won't be disappointed. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Sister OJ, and I fully endorse SPRB Radio with 10-Star General and Sharon Mango. Check it out.
Hey, this is Tony Anthony out of Canada, and I definitely endorse SPRB Radio Podcast with 10-Star General and Sharon Mango. Yeah, man, I definitely endorse SPRB Radio Podcast with a 10-Star General and Sharon Mango. Check them out, all right? Cool.
Hi, I'm Nana Genesis, and I fully endorse SPRB Radio with 10-Star General and Sharon Mango. Check it out.
Greetings, I'm Daniel Joseph, and I always tune into SPRB Radio Podcast with 10-Star General and Sharon Mango. Check it out.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Keisha Martin, fully endorsing SPRB Radio Podcast with 10-Star General and Sharon Mango. You already know it's a whole entire vibe. And I mean say, everybody just rock and come in, cause we are jamming at the housing scheme. Bring your queen and leave your machine, cause up here good vibes from the scene. In rock steady, baby, rock steady. Right over to SPRB Radio Podcast with 10-Star General and Sharon Mango. Keisha Martin says so. Fully endorsed.
Yes, bless. It is I, Turbulence to the Future from the Tread Almighty Camp. And I fully endorse SPRB Radio Podcast with 10-Star General. I'm talking about Sharon Mango. Check it out. Trust you won't be disappointed. I could have been one of the most notorious ladies. I'm still loving you, even though you're gone. Interesting.
Yeah, it's your girl, Kerry Lopez. I'm so right about now. I'm representing for SPRB Radio Podcast. Not normal about that. So I'm a 10-Star General. Big up yourself. And the beautiful host herself, Sharon Mango, Kerry Lopez in Jamaica, are representing for the podcast show there. I'm going to tell the people, check it out. Not normal about the settings for me. I send you there, you know what time it is. They come see me. Yeah, I tell you, say whenever I mean, I makes business with pleasure. Yeah, man. I wait there. Check out the podcast now, man. 10-Star, tell them the man.
Yo, greetings people. My name Captain Blaze out of Nigeria, Lagos. We fully endorsing the SPRB Radio Podcast with 10-Star General and Sharon Mango. Boom! Don't touch the dial. Stay tuned.
If you don't see the greatness in me now, you are gonna see it later. Cause Jah don't tell me my later will be greater. Yo, this is Real VI, and I'm saying blessings to each and every one love right across the world. Raising the awareness, you know what I mean, with Sharon Mango and the 10-Star General. Raising the awareness show, you know what I mean. You don't know, Real VI will be there. Love, love, love.
This is Embry Somani out the UK, and I'm fully endorsing SPRB Radio Podcast with 10-Star General and Sharon Mango. Keep it locked. One love.
Greetings, everyone. This is Glenn Washington from out of Florida, and I fully endorse SPRB Radio Podcast with the 10-star General and Sharon Mango. Check them out, scene. Irie Rastafari.
Hey, what's up? My name is Ray Vaughn, and I fully support SPRB Radio Podcast. Check in.
Hi, my name is Sharon Benter Pike from Vibes, Peace, Freedom Music Promotions, and I'm here to endorse SPRB Radio Podcast with 10-star General and Sharon Mango. Stay tuned.
This is Jojo Mack, and I always tune into the SPRB Radio Podcast with 10-star General and Sharon Mango. If you love a good conversation, you should too. Check it out.
4. This is Yami Bolo from out of Jamaica, and I fully endorse SPRB Radio Podcast with 10-star General and Sharon Mango. Check it out. You won't be disappointed. Bless and love. Yami Bolo said that.
Hi, this is your girl Winnie. And this is your girl Freddie. From out of London. And we fully endorse SPRB Radio Podcast with 10-star General and Sharon Mango. Check them out!
This is The Buzz, your music news update for the latest on your favorite artists and more. Sponsored by JojoMacMusic.com. Hello everyone, I am Pistol and this is The Buzz. Dancehall superstar Mavado is slated to return to New York for his annual birthday celebration in the form of a concert on December 10th. In addition to Mavado, patrons will be treated to performances from some of the genre's hottest commodities, namely the Vendetta Boss, Alkaline, Journey Hitmaker 450, and hip-hop artist and reality star Sukihana. Dino Crazy will host the event, which will be held at Amazura Nightclub. Dubbed as The Return, the highly anticipated concert is sparking a lot of buzz in and around the tri-state area as Mavado, also called Gully God, has not performed in New York for 3 years. The pandemic and COVID really did slow things down. A lot of shows were placed on hold, people out of work, and a lot of people just never came out, Mavado said. Mavado has an extensive catalog of hits, including Delilah, Real McCoy, Wedema Do, and recent Billboard chart-topping hit, Blessed, featuring Afrobeats artist Kitty. Supreme Promotions Limited Isaiah Lang, co-founder and promoter of Sting, is scratching the itch to have a book published about the event's rise and contribution to dancehall culture. Already having penned a book almost a decade ago, Lang said the time has come to give the people another good read with a distinct perspective of Jamaica's dancehall. In Lang's 2013 memoir, Point Blank Range, a Jamaican badman police, he shared the inside story of crime and corruption in the 1980s and how he became a notorious but powerful character within the Jamaican police force, set to feature never-before-published backstage anecdotes and artists' experiences, insights and stories from the organizers. The Sting book should be launched in the first quarter of 2023. He said it takes a format which speaks of Sting from the very first show, capturing specific moments in dancehall, and has interviews with the top acts. We are only waiting on interviews to be done with Beanie Man and Bounty Killer. Former Miss World, Tony Ann Singh, feels indebted to dancehall hitmaker Popcorn, who she described as kind and supportive in an interview. It is definitely a dream come true. It is one of the greatest honors, and I have to be honest about the fact that this is not something that has to happen, that this is just because Andre, Popcorn's first name, is one of those people who wants to give young talent a chance to show themselves to the world, Singh shared, referring to their recent collaboration on the single, Next to Me. The track was produced by Andrew Blacks. She continued, I'm eternally grateful and indebted for this opportunity and for how great of a mentor he has been. It's incredible because I could never imagine it would go amazingly. Years ago when I was listening to Popcorn, I never really imagined that one day I would share a moment with him like this. While there have been speculations about Singh's relationship with the entertainer, she has gracefully ignored the noise. She said, all I'll say is that there is only love between us and a lot of it Dancehall artist Skilly Bang is the winner of the inaugural Best Caribbean Music Act category in the 2022 Music of Black Origin MOBO Award. Skilly Bang collected the award during the live telecast which took place at the OVO Arena in London, England. He said, quote, "I represent Jamaica. I'm from a small island where it's very hard, and I really appreciate this award." The Best Caribbean Music Act category replaced the Best Reggae Act category, which was instituted in 1996. The other nominees in the Best Caribbean Music Act category were Shensia, Sean Paul, Spice, Coffee, and Popcorn. This was Skilly Bang's fourth MOBO nomination. He was also nominated in the Best International Act category this year, which was won by Nigerian Afrobeats star Burna Boy. Skilly Bang, who made waves in the United Kingdom with the single Wap Wap earlier this year, is signed to RCA Records. Just weeks after suffering a miscarriage, singer Jada Kingdom has released her latest single, dubbed One Life. The song deals almost exclusively with the emotional fallout of a relationship. Co-produced by Crown Media House and 100 Hours Entertainment, One Life is distributed by 1RPM via all major digital and streaming platforms. The singer's fans will be receptive to this latest project. Crown Media House and 100 Hours Entertainment are also responsible for ESQ Till Death, another of the singer's offerings, which was released with visuals on November 15th. I am Pistol, and that, my friends, was The Buzz. That was The Buzz, your music news update for the latest on your favorite artists and more. Sponsored by JojoMacMusic.com.
Now here's the song from our sponsor, Jojo Mac.
Try again in another life. You could cry me a river, but you can't be my friend. I know you have an agenda, cause I see how you pretend. You act like you are amazing. Everything I do, you're praising. Always, you're my first responder. But now I know you're undercover. I see you. You are a pretender. A pretender. You are a pretender. You come around, make sure you get close. Being agreeable, the one who laughed the most. And all the time you know you were the thorn on the rose. You are a pretender. A pretender. You are a pretender. Try again in another life. But I bet you can't fool me twice. Your game is up. It must be rough. I was warned but didn't listen. What I did instead, I gave you the benefit of the doubt, but you tried to use your head. You thought that you were smarter. Your pea-brain must be underwater. I see you. You are a pretender. A pretender. You are a pretender. A pretender. You are an undercover offender. A pretender. You are a pretender.
Greetings, my peeps. This is the original Brown Sugar, aka Shezzy. Tune in to the live conversation show with 10 Star General and Sharon Mango.
Greetings. My name is Dianna Wright, singer, songwriter, and poetess. I fully endorse SPRB Radio Podcast with 10-Star General and Sharon Mango. Check them out. Trust you won't be disappointed. Yes.
In the beginning was the Word. And the Word made all things for himself.
Dianna Wright is our guest.
So that you and I would never have to live without his love.
She's very deep. She's deep, deep, deep. Listen to the lyrical content of these songs that I'm going to play right now. Once again, Dianna Wright is our guest. Take a listen.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. And the Word made all things for himself, by himself. So that you and I would never have to live without his love, or his grace, or his mercies that endures forever.
I was discouraged and everything was going wrong. Lost and confused, yeah, I couldn't find a prayer song. Then Satan would whisper, say God is your father, and don't even bother, cause he won't answer your prayers. So much love, no competition. Devil, don't you know he's got too much love, won't compromise it. And should I lost the vision, he'll bring revelation to his own.
Wheel and come again. General Coach says so.
In the beginning was the Word.
Are you listening?
And the Word was with God.
Lyrics.
And the Word made all things for himself, by himself. So that you and I would never have to live without his love, or his grace, or his mercies that endures forever.
I was discouraged and everything was going wrong. Lost and confused, yeah, I couldn't find a prayer song. Then Satan would whisper, say God is your father, and don't even bother, cause he won't answer your prayers. So much love, no competition. Devil, don't you know he's got too much love, won't compromise it. And should I lost the vision, he'll bring revelation to his own.
Jesus.
I'm under protection through the blood of the Lamb. I'm walking a new road according to God's plan. Though temptation's strong, I got to hold on, 'cause it won't be long when I'll testify. There's so much love, no competition. Devil, don't you know he's got too much love?
Sharon from Germany wants me to pull it up again. Lord have mercy. Can I pull it up? Shall we pull it up? Yes, let's do that one more time. It's a big tune. Our guest is Dianna Wright. She's sitting right there. She's shining bright like a star. Woo! We'll come again.
In the beginning was the Word.
I'm only going to play a few bars of this song, then we're going to go into the next song, then we're going to begin the conversation, yeah? But listen, big tune.
By himself. So that you and I would never have to live without his love, or his grace, or his mercies that endures forever.
I was discouraged and everything was going wrong. Lost and confused, yeah, I couldn't find a prayer song. Then Satan would whisper, say God love, no competition. Devil, don't you know he's got too much love, won't compromise it. And should I lost the vision, he'll bring revelation to his own.
That's so wicked. Cheese and bread is like I need some oxygen. Where you depend, Dianna? Where you depend? Where you really depend? You're muted, man. You unmute yourself.
Just some good vibes, you know, some good vibes, reflecting on the creator, just some good vibes.
Did you really know what you were singing, the enormity of this particular song? This song is worthy of Grammy and Billboard and everything.
Well, thank
you. You know that, right?
Thank you.
You didn't know that, or you know that?
And I know now.
Let me play the next tune before we introduce you.
Through the blood of the
False start, in comes the original start. And once again, this is Dianna Wright. Here's a song called Sincerely. Me a real DJ in a real life, you know that, right? Let me tell you something, she got some real slammers here, I'm telling you. Big tune I play, one more time.
oh yeah. Don't leave me, Lord. Lord, I'm sincerely, earnestly yours. Love you have shown me, open many doors. Lord, I'm so grateful, you're in my life. You'll always be my guide. Oh yeah, got to find a way to let my praises flow. Gotta find a way to let the whole world know that I belong to you. And you're always on my side. Every time I need you, Lord, you're just a prayer away. Lord, I'm sincerely, earnestly yours. Love you has shown me, open many doors. Lord, I'm so grateful, you're in my life. You'll always be my guide. Oh yeah, life's not the same, Lord, without your love. And I don't know how I live without you for so long. Ooh, in you I found a friend. I'm telling you thanks, I'm giving you back my heart.
Sing it though.
Lord, I'm sincerely, earnestly yours. Love you has shown me, open many doors.
Sing out, Dianna,
Lord,
sing out.
I'm so grateful,
Sing out.
you're in my life.
Always be my guide. Mm-hmm.
Oh
my goodness.
Dianna in the building. Wait, where's my applause? I tell you what, we have Imara Stewart and Bev Edwards to thank for Dianna Wright being here today. And because of them two, that's why Dianna is here. And, you know, Imara is my revolutionary musical brother in our real life, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And when he fully endorses somebody, it's like no questions asked. Boom, let's make it happen. And since meeting you, magical things has happened even before you even came on the show. You know what I mean? So you're here now. I'm glad people are going to get to hear your story. Meet my beautiful co-host all the way down there in sunny New Jersey.
I wish it was sunny. Hi, Dianna. Yes, it's not.
That was a wisecrack, by the way.
Oh,
How are you, Sharon?
I'm good, thanks, Dianna. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm giving thanks. I'm doing great. Looking forward for this all week.
Oh, see, that's exciting to know. We're very happy to hear that because we're going to get into your story. We're so excited, but welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, the one and only Imara, thank you so much. My brother from another mother, Imara, is just like
Sharon, when you bless up Imara, you have to bless up Bev.
And Bev too. So sorry. Imara and Bev, thank you so much. Imara is become family to us too over here in the States. So blessings, and again, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, 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 Miss Dianna Wright. So excited to hear what's going on with you because poetry, multimedia company, actress. You got a lot of things under that belt, so we're going to get into all of that.
Okay.
When I see the amount of things she's done and the places that she's been to, I'm in awe. And, you know, I really am happy to see that in this day and age that people are recognizing that Africa is the place of origin of where we came from. You know, so to see you fully embracing that in real time in your videos that I've seen is really a blessing, you know. So today is about honoring you as a human being of all the things you've done, you know. We're happy that we get to say these things to you while you're still alive, you know what I mean? And not when you pass on that we say, oh, she was this great person and this, that, and the other. We say it to you to your face. You either like it or you lump it.
I think I'm going to love it.
Ignore me. I have a crazy sense of humor, but yeah. And that's what it's about. So, Sharon, flip a coin. Heads or tails?
Heads or tails? Tails? I'm saying tails. Your heads.
Tails it is. Tails it is.
Tails? All right. Well,
See how good I am.
My imaginary coin. Yes, tails it is.
Wait, now, listen. I've created something called the time machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you were to put Dianna into a time machine, ask her what year would she go back to, and talk about her musical history. Take her back to a time. Let her tell you what time she wants to go back to.
Yes, Miss Dianna. I mean, he said tails, but you see how he just sneaked that in there, right? So you heard what he said, right?
Yeah.
Dianna, tell us. Tell us.
Okay. All right. So what age would I go back to? I'm not going to say the age. I'm just going to say what was happening at the time. So therefore,
mathematicians, get your brains working. Sorry, ignore me. Go on.
Okay. So I would go back to, let me see, about 85, about not even like early 90s, because that's actually when I started. And at the time when I was, what was it? I'm trying to figure out, maybe 90 or like early 90s, right? When I started entering JCDC's festival, and I was like doing, most of my writing. And I was really, really, really very heavily in the arts. I think that was a very crucial point for me there. I would have stayed more with a lot more of the knowledge about self, about Africa, about us as a people, and as a journey, as a family. And I think when I started in that time, like in Jamaica, people more embrace you as a people. People more embrace the art, and it wasn't just so much an individuality, but we saw the art as family, and everyone we were just united together to bring out our art and to have our peace, to have our say, and that was very crucial for me. I would have loved to go back there so that I could, if I could take, for example, some of the things I know now and bring it back then, I think it would be great. The type of material I would have put out would have even been more, more useful back then, so that when we transition further, we are taking something powerful with us to empower the youth of today.
That's beautiful what she just said. Well, we're going to take you all the way back now, Miss Dianna.
Sharon.
Yes. What she said was amazing.
She's a sprinter. Dianna can sprint,
She sprinted all the way, and I'm just like, but I hear what she's saying, though. That's what you said was definitely food for thought. That was deep. We all want to say that if things that we know now, if we could take it back to a certain time, it would be wonderful. But we're going to go back, and we want to know where you were born, mom and dad, brothers and sisters, your influences when you were small that molded you into Miss Dianna Wright, because you are such a deep-rooted soul. You are a light, just getting brighter and brighter and brighter. So let's start from the beginning, how that light came to be.
Okay. All right. So I was born in the beautiful parish of Clarendon in a quaint little district called Whiteshop. I don't know why it was named that, but Clarendon is at the time was still is a very beautiful parish. I grew up with my father because my mother passed when I was like 7 years old. Excuse me. So it was my father that raised me and my brother. I have other siblings, but for my father, on my father's side, it was me and my elder brother. At the time, I think he may be about 2 years older than myself. I have two other brothers by my father's side too, but they were not living with us. So it was just my brother. His name is Basil Wright, and so we lived with our father. And my father was a farmer. My father was one of the most, and I can use the word beautiful as a man, not to describe only how handsome he was, but his ways, his loving, caring ways. My father was the one that washed our clothes. Like the women that he put in the pan and he washed them. My father was the one, as early as I can remember, maybe about up to 5 years old or so. My father was the one that he got the old time tub that we used to have in Jamaica. It's made of metal. And he would put my brother and I in it, and he would bathe us, like, soap our bodies and bathe us. My father would wash my hair. He would put the iron on the fire, clean it off with the newspaper and iron our little clothes to go to school and stuff like that. So the upbringing I had was I had even though I didn't grow up with a lot of siblings around me, but just being in the house with my father and my brother, he showed us so much love. It's like I didn't really miss a mother, even though my mother was there. But at the time when she passed, I didn't miss a mother because the only thing my father didn't do was just like comb my hair because he couldn't plait, but he would wash it, he would oil the scalp, and then he would send us out the next door neighbor to get my hair combed. My father cooked, he cleaned the house, so I grew up with that kind of love in my heart and respect for men, especially, fathers. Some people have like traumatic feelings or vibrations towards men. I don't, because I grew up, even though my father was very humble, didn't have much, but he brought me up in that light and that love. And so I grew up also in church, a church called, at the time it was called Songwriter, New Testament Church of God. So that's where I actually grew up. I was doing my little singing as a church. I was on a little children's choir, but as I grew to maybe like I was about 10 or 11, I started singing, be more involved in church and be more involved in the church choir. And at the time, my father was still a great influence, still the father who mothered us, until I was about 12. And then through my sister, one of my sisters, I went to live in Waterford in Kingston with one of my aunts. And I started going to the Waterford Secondary School. So shout out to all the past students of Waterford Secondary School. It's now a high school. By the way, my niece is listening, Kerry. So shout out to you. Yeah, and then I yeah, and so I went there to Waterford, and that's where I finished all of my high school. But it was in Waterford that I learned, that I realized that, wait, I have this flair for writing. When I was about 12, I actually started writing stuff, and then when I would let my teacher read it, especially my English literature teacher, she was like, "Did you actually write this? How did you come up with the names? How did you do the plots? How did you know when to transition from this plot to that plot? And the story ties." And I'm like, "I don't know, but I just did it." And so in the early stage, that was where it all started from. And I really, really, it was just a natural vibration that was on the inside. I couldn't say that I had a role model anywhere, or I followed someone. It was just something that came from within, as they say, soul within, without. And I just exhibited that, and it followed me, and it bloomed and it blossomed. And so that's where it was to the early part when I started, like really writing and gaining some recognition at school. I've always been like first in my English class, in my literature and competition. I've always been like on top of the class where that is concerned. So
Wait,
that's really where it
hold on.
started to
Don't go
gel.
no further. Don't go no further. Hold on.
Okay.
That deserves a round of applause. Sorry, continue.
Okay. So, let me see, it was 1985, I think. Someone told me about, at the time, there was this radio station that it's not anymore, JBC. At the time, JBC was very, very a big thing in Jamaica. And someone told me about this gentleman his name was Tony Young. And they said, "Tony Young is a good guy, Diana, you probably need to, go up there and talk with him and see if he can, let you say some of your poems up there and so on the radio station." I'm like, "On the radio station, me?" At the time, I was maybe like about 15 or something like that, So I went to JBC there at that time, and I spoke with the security. An adult brought me there, so I wasn't alone. And they made the call for me and the talk. And Tony Young when I met him and I told him what I did. So he said, "Okay, say one of your poems for me." And I don't remember the one I said, but he was very, very impressed. And they're telling me about little programs that they were having, and then he told me about JCDC, the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, and that I could go there, And as time progressed, I just started taking all of that information, and I made good use of it until fast forward maybe like 3 years or so after that, I really went to JCDC, and I met this gentleman by the name of Kenny Salmon. He was a speech and drama coordinator at the time. And he said, "Yes, it's a good thing that you come now because we're having some competition. Would you like to enter?" I said, "Sure." So I entered. I wrote a piece. It's a very beautiful piece. And he said, "Okay, I think the event was going to be in one of the country area." So he said, "Are you going to be able to get a ride there?" I said, "Yes, I got a ride there." And again, fast forward, several months after that, I know I came second in the speech and drama competition. And I think I took around maybe about 2 or 3 awards home whether it's poetry, speech and drama, and it was something else. I think I got 3 awards. I'm like, that was my first attempt. And it just, from then, Kenny said, "Diana, I love your voice. I love the way you write. I love the way you," so, and at the time, Kenny had a program, and he said, "Listen, I have my own company. I want you to work with me." And so I began to work with Kenny Salmon on a lot of his program until he said, "Well, we're having something big at the Philip Sherlock Center at the University of the West Indies." He said, "Do you think you can do something?" I'm like, "Sure." So there was this poet. His name is Martin Glenn. I think that's his name. He said, "Diana, Martin Glenn is a brilliant writer." So he said, "I want you to compile some of his poems with yours, and I want you to be It's just going to just be you on stage. It's called a one-woman show. It's just going to be you. So you're going to take these poems, you're going to arrange them the way that you see fit, and you're going to, whether you want to sing them or you want to chant them or just do them as, like a free verse, or, look for, if you see the haikus in them, you can do whatever you want to do. However, and I said, oh my gosh, all right, for real? And he says, yes. And I took some of that gentleman's poems along with maybe one or two of mine. And at Philip Sherlock Center that day, we had like a whole lot of people. And Kenny said, Dianna, did you rehearse it? The time came. He didn't even go over the rehearsal with me. He said, I'm confident that you're going to do this based on the fact that you've been winning these awards and everything. Kenny never saw me rehearse. And that was his program. When it was time, he said, are you ready? So I went on stage.
Without no rehearsal.
No, I had to do them on my own. He said, this is what I'm just confident.
Jesus.
If you do these things, if you wrote these poems that you wrote, and I saw you perform and I saw you getting these, I'm just going to give you these poems to do and let me see what you have. And believe you me, that day when I went on stage, I had the props. I already made up my mind what I was going to use for the props, and have my little things on the stage. And I went up there, and it was 1 hour, and I recited. I did everything from memory, all of the gentleman's poems, and I used some some jazz songs, and it was just 1 hour. People were like, "Oh my God!" You know what?
Gosh. Sorry.
But you know what's interesting about that though? They didn't know that they were like all poems, because the way how I did it, I made it kind of like a free verse, and they just flowed. So they actually thought like it was like a whole skit that somebody, wrote and had to follow the plots, but they were all poems. And it was so beautiful. And that was the height of me as a poet, as a writer. And that was really where it started to, gain a little spark, a lot more spark for me.
Now, how old, matter of fact, before I even get to how old, I want to say this. What you said about your father was the most beautiful thing we've heard in a long time. As a father raising his children. He was a farmer, not easy work. He's out there busting it, but he had the empathy to show you love.
Yes.
You know what I mean? To show you that love and help you to grow the woman as the woman that you are, I'm sure, and your brothers. I just have to commend on that. 10 star, you got to give applause. What's your father's name?
His name is Easton Wright. He's no longer with us. His name is Easton.
Well,
Easton Wright, we know you're looking down on your daughter and you're smiling. So here's to you.
Yes,
all right.
Please.
All right, here we go. Hold on. Wait. The thing I try to let me down, man. Anyway, continue. We get the round of applause. Soon.
Oh yes, we gotta give him a round of applause.
Yeah.
God bless his soul. God bless him. Now, how old were you when you did this show?
I was like when I performed at Philip Sherlock, I was about 18.
Okay.
I was about 18, 19. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's huge.
Yes.
Like you found out who you were that time. If you didn't know who you were then, you find out that dear. That is amazing. So
from stick up him because I want Daddy up there, so forget his round of applause.
Yes, sir, please. Phenomenal.
Continue.
Yeah.
Yes. So from there, after you did that show or during the show, how were you feeling? You just came and just took over. What was happening in your mind at that time?
I was so confident. I didn't know fear. For me, it was like, I was built for this. I was made for this. And even though it was a competition, the JCDC performances were all competition, but the one at Philip Sherlock, it wasn't a competition. It was like, different acts and they had to do their presentation. But I didn't know fear, like I wasn't nervous, like, am I going to lose this? Because poetry. I love writing. That's when I get into myself. That's when I find the best part of me, when I'm locked into that inner space, and I can actually go out there, because it gives you a little power. At least it gives me a little power. Here I am with all these people sitting down, waiting to hear what this young girl has to say. And so whatever was, however I saw the world, whatever I think shaped the world or should shape the world, here I am, and these people are listening to me, and I believe that I have something to say that they are, and I wanted to make it count, I wanted to make it count. So my stage presence, my diction, my everything, I made sure that I had those down pat, because here are these people waiting to hear what I have to say, and I wanted them to take something away. So fear was never even a factor, at that time. I just knew that I was in my element, and I loved being on stage, and I loved looking at the people as they look back at me. Yes.
The Almighty said that when He created you, He forgot to give you the fear DNA. So now we understand.
Yeah, we like that one. And so I'm going to take over, because you better creep in when you can, because I'm going to come back.
I'm loving the conversation. That's
all right
going
then.
on.
If you'd like me to continue, then I will.
And one thing I want to interject, and is, do you remember some of the early poems that you used to recite on stage?
Let me see if I can remember.
Even if it's a few bars, whatever.
There is this poem that when I was about, 20, there was a church function that I entered, and when I said the poem, the whole church just got in the spirit. So that poem stayed in my mind. It's alongside, there's a little piece of it called, it says, "The blood red horizon dawns from the morning sky amidst the fading stars. Illuminate the distant heaven in its wonders. Then I watch the cloud, unveiled like a rose in the morning dew, saturated by the shimmering lights of sapphire walls amidst milky white roses. I saw heaven eye to eye, washed with the sweet aroma of angels' fragrance. I was suddenly engulfed into this astonishingly beautiful place. I threw myself upon the pure topaz pavement, afraid to look upon this dazzling beauty. Then I scrambled off my face and thrust myself against the wall. I thought I had seen it all. I thought I had seen it all. But curiosity beckons. With the loud pattering of my bare feet upon the pure topaz pavement, I darted in and out of gates decked with pearls that lit like fire, out into the open. There almost a new world seemingly comes into view. Amidst the green grass that glistens like emeralds in the deep, the tall trees spread their leaves like guarding angels, and oh, look at the buildings in the distance. They look like gems atop a moonlit lake. Oh, how the roses graced each pathway in their radiant colors. Then the magnitude of heaven pulls me outside of myself, because my body, this body, could no longer contain what I saw. I must find him. I must find him. He whose hands have fashioned this awesome place. For then and only then, oh, then and only then would my eyes behold beauty in the highest degree. Better than me.
Blood fire! Yo, you don't know about Wait, you don't know about at all.
No, because we said a few bars. We said, could you remember a few bars? She said, remember all of it.
Few bars, you know.
That was amazing.
I love that. And you really got into it. You know, you were really born for this.
Yes, 100%.
The Almighty really did leave out the fear DNA when he created you.
Thank you.
You know, it's like you go into real mode, you know. Did you ever, at your young stage in mind, feel like this is where I wanted to go? You knew from an early age that, you know, entertainment, poetry, singing, songwriting, whatever it was that was going on in your mind. Did you know that was the route you wanted to go in life?
Yes, I knew from early, and I've even like planned it out that I wanted to have like a whole big what do you call it now, like production company. You know, there was only one little thing that kind of came in my mind, that I wanted to be an air hostess, but then I'm afraid of heights, so like that quickly vanished, and I'm like,
I don't blame you. Just imagine, I wanted to be an air pilot, but I was scared of heights.
Oh man!
But you can only imagine.
I'm telling you, but yeah.
Okay, so from a very early age, you knew the direction you wanted to head to. You leave secondary school or high school. What was in your mind, as you know, where you were where you said to yourself, this is where I want to go to, this is the next stage of where I want to be at? What was going through your mind?
Okay, so when I left school, because I was very good at English and literature and the arts and, you know, those kind of things, even though I wanted to be, you know, everything arts, I wanted to do music, I wanted to do all of that. But then people would always say to me, I'm a very good listener. At least I was told that I'm a very good listener. So, you know, people would say to me, Dianna, you know, now that you are graduating or, you know, stuff like that, why don't you go into and I tend to have a way with people and a way with words, you know, I guess that's what I was told. So someone told me that, you know, maybe you should go in the legal field. Maybe you should, you know, they gave me all these maybes that they thought I would be good at. And for sure enough, as a matter of fact, I have a degree in paralegal studies. So I did, you know, try that. And I've worked in the legal field for many years. Of course, I had my daughter, and then after I had my first child, then I realized that, you know, of course, things change a little bit, because whereas in Jamaica, the arts, it was great, but then it wasn't really paying as much as, you know, so that's the part that really hurt me the most, because I wanted to just stay locked into it. But then here I have to go and, you know, study for something else and, you know, do something else. And I was very good at it. I was very good at you know, being a paralegal and working. I worked in Jamaica. I was working for Michael Law, an attorney, for several years. And then, you know, I left and I had my own company, because I do graphics designing. I do everything you can think of.
Now, at this point, were you still in Jamaica?
Yes, I was still in Jamaica at that point. Yeah. And then, let me see what happened. Maybe in the year 2000, I recorded, well, there was another event again at Coney Park, when Coney Park was still up. And so someone told me, they said, they're having some function out there. Why don't you go there and sing? Because, you know, people know I do a little singing here and there along with my poetry. So I had a very good friend at the time. His name is Glenroy Samuels, and he is the former rhythm guitar player for Fab Five. So, but that was before he joined Fab Five. He used to come by me a lot. We used to sit down and talk. And so I had this song. I said, I told him one day, I said, Glenn, listen, I heard that there's a function at Coney Park and I am going to sing something. And he said, what? So I told him I have this nice little song that I wrote. It's a very simple little song, but it's a nice song. So he, began to, play the progression and started out for me. So that time I went, no, that was in 1999. I think it was the year before 2000. So I went there. On the stage, I said to the gentleman, I said, well, they were kind of rehearsing. I said, I don't have a band. I don't have anything. So the musician that was there, he said, well, sing a song for me. His name is Gifton Smith. That's when I first met him. He used to be part of the Hummingbird Singers in Jamaica. So very, very great band at the time. Beautiful vocalists they were. So I started singing the song and he said, okay, Diana, that's easy. That's an easy song. So my band will be your musician. I didn't even know them. He said, we'll be your musician for that time. And I went and I sang the song called If You Miss Me. That song, when I sang a very simple song, like I rocked the crowd, like I was like, the song is a simple little song, and people were really, really loving it. And Gifton, after the show, Gifton said, Diana, I think you should record that song. So I recorded the song the year after. That was in 2000. And that song today, there's no place in Jamaica that people don't do over that song. Most of the artists, gospel artists in Jamaica today have done over the song. It's a song called If You Miss Me. And it's just a great song.
You cannot go any further without singing couple bars.
Okay.
Yes.
Putting you on the spot today, girl.
So the song says, if you miss me, don't go searching, no, you don't see me. You know that I'm gone. And if you don't hear from me, don't go knocking on my door, 'cause I'll be gone in the twinkling of an eye. So that's the chorus.
Yeah.
That song, so many people have done it over. So many people have done the song over today. Yeah, so that's where it really
People,
started.
you are looking at the original on a carbon copy. Original.
That's right.
Sharon, going at it.
Yes. Well, I too was enjoying the conversation because you have so much to tell us. So after doing that song now, you recorded, matter of fact, listening back to what you were saying, we spoke about the poetry and all this, but when did you know you could sing? Have you always sang? Did you sing in church?
Yeah, in church, yeah. That's how I started first. When every little child in Sunday school, they always give you something to sing from. Jesus loves me.
Yes.
Yeah. But then I realized, they realized that, you have a nice little voice somewhere in there. Right. So they always ask me at church, at Sunday school, when you have the children church, to come up and sing a little song. So that's when I really, I kind of liked to hear the sound of my voice at that during that time, and then it just blossomed,
Oh man. So after doing that song and the gentleman said, let's record it, was when you got into music, to not just your poetry, but that was the start for you, like, I think I'm going to record some songs. Did you start writing now?
Yeah.
Your own songs and stuff? Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so yes, when I recorded that song, after I recorded the song, Gifton said to me, Diana, you can't just record one song, because, people are doing albums now. So he said, write some more songs, man. So I said, all right. And I wrote, because at that time we were doing maybe 10 or 12 songs on an album, so I said, okay. And quick, I just wrote, made up the songs, maybe it took me about maybe between 3 to 4 months for us to get all the songs together and to record them and everything. And the very first day, I never forgot, this gentleman, his name is Rohan Smichael. He sings too. He has this baritone, big, beautiful voice. And he used to frequent Gifton's studio a lot. And then after we finished, he said, Diana, because I'm just doing an album. So he said, let's go down to Irie to see if we can give Big A the songs, the CDs. I said, all right. So I didn't have a car, but Roland, he drove. So we let that Sunday, right after we were finished, it was a Sunday, I remember, we went down to Irie. He drove me down to was Otrius, right? Or wherever RFM, wherever he was. And I went down there. Luckily, we saw Big A. He was just coming into work. And I stopped him and we talked to him. And I said, here's my CD. I would like you to play it for me. And he said, okay, okay. And Roland gave him his CD. And by the time we left RFM and we're driving home, Big Roland said, let me see if he's really gonna play them for real. But he played Roland's songs, and we're like, whoa, he really did play a song. And I'm like, Roland, we were just, snapping our fingers and driving. Then when he played If You Miss Me, oh my God, I kid you not. He played the song and he, you know them saying, hold on, pull up. He pulled up the song like about 3 times. You see,
Wow.
and I was like, Roland, I'm not gonna lie, if you look at jealous, 3 times. So, and then from that, it's just been going and it's just been going. So I've been like on stage with Giplin Smith. The Hummingbird, they were like Grace Chillers at the time when Grace Chillers were big.
Grace Chillers, yes, yes.
And all of them, I just been going places here, there, and there and doing my poems. At the time I recorded with this gentleman, now you had Love FM. There was a gospel station that came on. So Love FM, it's called Love FM. They had this, there's this gentleman, his name is Alan Lewis. And he has one of the most beautiful speaking voice in radio, in Jamaica at that time. And so that was in when, let me see, 90, because, time went by. So that was 2004, 2005. I just listened and I said to myself, I'm going to go up there to see if I can meet this gentleman because he sounds kind. Just by listening to him. And I went up there to Love FM that day and I said, hey, they allow me to talk with him. I said, hey, I have some songs and I have some poems. Would you allow me, to come on your radio station? And he said, sure, because Alan was very open. And I was like, for real? And when I went on the station and I recited some of my poems, it was just so, he was blown away by it. And the calls kept coming in, people kept calling and said, well, I like that poem, I like that song. And it was just being great for me at the time. And Alan himself, he said, Dianna, I want to do some work with you. And so he recorded my first, at the time we were using cassettes. So he recorded my first poetry, if I could call it poetry album. It's called God in All His Splendor. That's it. And that same song, that same poem I said for you earlier, that was on it among others. And boy, it was doing very good. It started to do very good. So,
You just mentioned a crucial word just now. Not everybody will understand what you just said. You mentioned something called cassettes. You're going to have to explain yourself.
These generations was like, old lady cassettes.
To me, it was just like yesterday, but to the young youth, it's like cassette. What the hell is he talking about?
Yeah, what is that? But guess what? Do you know when I recorded those songs, I still have my dots. You know what? Do you know what dots?
Oh, Jesus, I still got a whole load of them. Yeah.
Yes.
I still have my dots.
Imagine. That's
wow. We have a couple somewhere too. Yeah. Wow.
So I mean, things were going like real smoothly along the way for you. At what period did you lose your father along this journey of yours?
Actually, it was in 2018. Not so long ago.
2018. So it's quite recently.
Oh, that's recent.
Okay. So all along, so you left high school. You're trying to find your feet. You became a paralegal. At what stage did you become a paralegal on this journey of yours?
That was before I left Jamaica. When I was about 20, 23, something like that.
Okay. Now, where was your mindset at the time when you decided to become a paralegal? What was going through your mind? Because to me, looking on from the outside in, you knew what you wanted to become. However, you said to yourself, I need to get myself in this realistic way of life, because just in case something don't happen, I got something to fall back on. I don't know if that was the case. I'm just looking from the outside in. Where was your mind at?
When you start having children, even though I had children early, but when you start having children, okay, so when you're by yourself, you can afford to do a show, and if they pay you, Africans would say small, that can work. But if you have a child, I was never the kind of person to depend, even though the father was there taking care of, doing his part. But I was never the kind, it has never been in me, the kind of woman to say, all right, I'm going to sit down, or, you're supposed to give me all of that because you're the father or because we're together. I've always been someone who is always in the forefront, doing. And so when I saw that the entertainment or the poetry, it wasn't yielding, in terms of revenues, it wasn't that profitable, until I really started doing music. But I just kind of wanted to have something to balance, just in case I don't make enough, on the poems, or I don't make enough on the music. I have something, I can go and do a job. And because of, I like the paralegal things, because of course you do the research and, you prepare the documents, and, so I like that. That was well in my English, my love for the English language, and and all of that kind of thing. So to me, I started doing that as more like as a means to an end, but it was never my first love. My first love has always been the poetry and the music and the writing. So that was just like, what the guys say, okay, this is my side piece. So the paralegal was kind of like a side piece to me.
Yeah. For me, poetry has always been very, very powerful. And if I was to share just a little tiny bit of my history, especially when I got into radio, I understood the power of poetry. However, I always had a good friend from way back when who, I introduced you to, which is Yesu Safari, And when I had him on my show from way back when, I've always said to him, I love poetry, and I've always tried to write poems, but I've never understood, like, for instance, if you give me a rhythm track, I can write a song within minutes, or it would take me a whole day to write a particular song. So I can do that greatly, right? But poems, like, I've never really understood the grassroots of poem. Like what constitutes a poem? Like, for instance, like when I write a song, to me, it will have some sort of rhyme to it at the end of it, to a degree, But poetry, like, what constitutes a poem?
I guess for each artist, it's different.
And I should ask you, does it have to rhyme? It doesn't have to rhyme, right?
Oh no. Like, you have like different types of poetry. So you have like you have the free verse, you have the sonnets, you have the haiku. Some of them is, like the way the measurements are, like ta 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 ta. They have I guess it just depends on maybe what's going on in the writer's mind. Like for me, when I write, it's like I might be just driving, or I might be sitting down somewhere, and I just get a beautiful verse, almost like a song. Excuse me, but you know right away that it's not a song. I don't know how, but you just know when you begin to write it. You realize that, okay, this is going to be a poem. This is going to be it's like, for example, it's like, I don't know
like, for instance, I'm hearing you, but it's like, for me, I'm not adding the correct dots in the right place. It's like, I'm still trying to understand what constitutes a poem. However, I could hear a composition and know that this is a poem.
Okay, so now to answer you, Because I don't think anything in particular constitute a poem, because a poem can be a song.
Right.
Okay.
So, because even a song can be rhyming, a
Okay.
poem can rhyme. So I guess maybe it is what you term it to be. Because, like I have some of my poems I can sing. You can sing a poem as well as you can sing a song.
Right.
And some
Right.
people they can do poem just like to show you, for example, you can write a piece, you said it's a poem, but then why do you do it to music like a dub poetry? You see, it's song, it's poem, it's just words that you put a rhythm to. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it doesn't anything that constitute really, and the way how you perform it, you speak it versus put melody to it. So I think that's what it is.
Now, when you add spoken word into the forum, right? Now, spoken word and poetry are one of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they say you write poems, but they say poetry is the artistic element that you put to it. How you deliver it, it becomes poetry. But poem is what the verses that you put down on the page. So, like when you perform it, it becomes poetry. Yeah.
So now that you've delved into the poetry realm, you become a paralegal. So you set yourself up nicely in life, But also, my question to you is you're delving into an industry, when we say the poetry industry, that really doesn't get any recognition. However, there are some warriors on the battlefield. Like I do mention, yes, Safara, he's been able to take it to, the world. He's gone to Europe. He's been to here, there, and everywhere, But yet, even though he's fighting hard to ensure that poetry is recognized, it's still going through a battlefield, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So my question to you is, what keeps you going? What keeps you, believing that poetry is the way to go, and to make your mark felt? When people, to me, I feel like the minimal amount of people are listening to poetry. However, like 15 years ago, when I started doing my radio shows, I started doing a show whereby, and Sharon, Bentley, who's here today, she'll be able to testify. I used to do a segment where it was just pure poetry. I used to pay, people who write poems from South Africa. They could be from any part of the world, and I would try to highlight that. But yet it still seems to be going through a struggle. What do you think that struggle is all about? Why are people not really taken to poetry?
I think it's more like taste. For example, I haven't been to Canada, but they say poetry is a big thing in Canada. So it's people's taste. When you go to Ghana, for example, the arts in the high school, they have poetry, they have drama competition. Even when you listen to the adults, and when you go into the different tribes and you hear them, they beat the drums, and they're saying these things. They're actually telling their story in a poetry form, a poetic form, or in a dramatic form. But in maybe like in this Western world where people feel like, they don't have time to listen because the society is so fast. You have to have 2 jobs. Everything is fast. They just want something to ease their pain on a fast way. Poetry requires you to sit down and listen. They don't want to sit down and listen. They want a quick fix. So it's kind of like it's now the microwave society where, listen, I gotta be on the go. I just gotta stay in the fast lane. So if I'm stressed and I'm driving, I want to hear something like boop, 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 boop. It doesn't matter what it is saying, you know, they just want that something that's going to seemingly give them some kind of healing. And it's not the word, because if you listen to the words of most songs, it's crap. But it's just that they say, oh, that song got a good beat on it. But when you go to poetry, it's more exclusive. It requires you to lay aside everything that bothers you. It requires you to pay attention and to think. This is a society where people do not want to think. They don't want to be responsible for the consequences. Poetry forces you to think and to make good changes, and they don't. But if you go to Canada, or if you go to Africa, you'll find people have the time because they don't have to work 3, 5, 10 jobs to pay one little bill. So that's where we lose it.
So I again, you know, I want to come to that same point that you're talking about. Now, for me as an elder, you know, I believe the older I've become is I've become to understand the agenda of higher powers who are in control of the world, how the world runs and everything that runs within it, especially in the entertainment industry, right? Now, my cranium says to me that they do not want people like me, you, and people like us who think like us to be empowered by any kind of genre that empowers them to rise up and know who they are.
Exactly. And that is the agenda, I do believe, because you know I was listening to something the other day, and two rappers, they were talking about the struggles that they go through and how they have a lot of secret society within that the music business that forces them to have, you know, shut seal lips on things. And one of the things is that they're saying, listen, once you go into this room and you sign this contract, you know, you cannot tell what was said in there. But one of the things this guy was saying is that they kind of like pitch people against people. For example, you know, like how they have, and I'm going to take it all back to the time of slavery, the lighter skin against the darker skin, you know. So they would take, so okay, let rapper A and rapper B, you just do all those violent music that says I'm going to take your woman, and if you say something, I'm going to bust a shot in your skull, you know, because it's a kind of false energy that they are creating. And then, you know, when you see them with the gold chain and, you know, the nice body, and you're like, dang, I want some of that. I just gotta have some of that. So now you kind of tie in the filth that's coming out of their mouth with what they have, you know, so they marry it. So just like people think that, okay, the lighter you are, the more profitability you get in whatever, the more favor you get. So you find people in Jamaica. I even see some African girls bleaching. I'm like, why are you bleaching your skin? You're very foolish. And I just tell them straight. So it's by way of association. They associate the lighter with me and you're more favorable. So now they associate the evil and the violence in the music with this rapper talk crap and he got this and that and that. You're over there singing that God stuff and singing that conscious stuff. Look at what you have. You're still driving the old car from when ain't nobody see you. So people don't want that. I don't think they want the violence. They just want to breathe and to be able to succeed, but they won't let you. But you have to come to a place and a point in your mind where you're saying, listen, I don't want to do that. And you create your own world within the matrix.
Sharon, what have you heard so far?
Well, you know, I just know that Dianna is going to be one of those poets that's going to go down in history, like a Maya Angelou. A Maya Angelou. You know what I mean? People didn't take her seriously in the beginning, but all her poems resonate with each and every one of us in different ways and shows itself when necessary. Now, I respect what you were saying, that in poetry, you're forced to listen. It's like you're able to express it, right? Write it down, and people receive it in a way like, yeah, that's it. Yeah. yeah, that's how I'm feeling. You know what I'm saying? It does force you to sit down and check yourself, respect the beauty around you. Yes, this is happening in your life, but there is a greater picture that just encompasses it all when it comes to poetry. And I see that's, in your writings. Now, one of the questions I wanted to ask, when you did start writing all these poems, and how were you actually protecting this music? Were you like, how do you protect that? Like how you write a song and you register it and all of that. How do you protect your work?
Okay, so from Jamaica, every piece of music that I put out there, I was registered with JCAP at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So JCAP, they give you some kind of protection for your music. And now that I come here, excuse me, like when I write anything, I always register with the Library of Congress first. And once I register with the Library of Congress, they send you that documentation with your song on it, the name of your song and the number. And then also, I'm with ASCAP and JCAP, both, because they're like sister companies.
Right.
Right. So one collect from this side and one, collect royalties from the other side. So that's basically how I do.
And where is here? Are you in the US?
Yes, I'm in North Carolina.
Oh, she's one of us. Okay, we live here now. Well, we're far from each other. Oh my God. When was I down there? A couple of months ago. Why, if I didn't know you then, I would have ring your doorbell. Never mind.
Okay. You should have.
Took a little drive down there, was too long, but I was like, if I didn't know him, I'd be like, hey, I'm here. Come meet me. Oh my gosh. So when did you begin to see your success, I should say? Like, when was it that you started to do? Because there's so many things in your bio. Of course, we've read your bio, like the poetry, then there's the acting, theater work. How did that come about?
Okay, it came about, I discovered that because of poetry, when I had to be on stage and, make the presentation. So like with Kenny Salmon, the gentleman from JCDC I mentioned earlier, he had a production company. And so I started acting, with Kenny when he went on the road. So that was really where it started. The same gentleman I mentioned earlier, his name is Alan Lewis, who worked at Love FM.
Okay.
He was at the time he was producing, or he wanted to do a little movie, if I could call it that way. And he said, Diana, I just like your vibes and everything. I think it's called, what is it called again? Something Another Confession. It was more like a little love scene, meaning like this woman fell in love with this man, and then he left her, he broke her heart, and something to that. But so I was the star in it, and this gentleman, his name is Baga. I think they call him Baga something another, not Baga Brown. There's another guy. He sings. He's a musician. So he
is
was
it Baga
in it too.
What was it? 10 Star, you know what you're talking about? Not Baga Case, right?
No. She's not talking about Baga yet. No.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So we were in it, and that was my first like on like television, performance production. And that went very good. I think up to today, Alan told me, I talked with him recently, and he said, Danny, they're still showing the little movie we did from how long ago?
Oh, wow.
Really? He said, yes. But then now, since now living in North Carolina, I have a book that I self-published, a book of poems called The Conqueror's Quest. And when I was because I was living in Alabama first, right? So,
wow.
And I'm getting to the acting thing. I'm still on it. So when I was launching the book, instead of having, just going up there and just recite some poems, what I did, I got some people from the church that I was going to at the time. And just like I did the one woman jazz show that was called Jazzorama. So I got people who were interested in that kind of thing, and I gave them, poems to study, and we rehearsed, and we set the stage up. It was like a scientific, like we're in a lab, and they had the white coat on, and I built the soundtrack because my son at the time, he was young, but he was very good at music because he's my producer now. He plays all my music. His name is Christopher. Yes.
Wow.
Plays
Chris,
all my
bless up,
music.
Chris.
So we made the soundtrack, and I have a daughter. Her name is Jodie, and she can do like a lot of accents, you know. And I had her like I recorded her like she was the newscaster, and we had everything. We also had like a projector. We, like like you pretend someone to turn on the television and she comes on in the background. So I did a whole play, like a whole acting with them, and it was just poetry. I was launching the book, and no one knew again that these people were reciting poems. So we just, brought it over together, and it was beautifully done. It was well done. Now, several years after that, when I moved to North Carolina, we set up a company that is called 16 Bars. And I said 16 bars because it kind of reminded me of back in the day when we had 16 track, the 8 track and so on. That's why I call it right. 16 bars. It kind of helps us keep the stable. So 16 bars now it's a production company. We do voiceovers, we do recording, we have a professional recording studio and everything. The other day we did something for this gentleman. His name is Michael Hill, a beautiful singer. A song called Lay Me Down Easy, Baby, so I can love again. Lay me down easy, baby, I can learn to fly again. So I wrote that song and Chris produced it, and so we made a whole movie out of it. Well, it was short. We call it a mini movie. And it was just so beautiful. So that was my first take at it, like trying to produce something. And we did the shooting ourselves. I did all the video editing because I do graphics like that, put it together and Let Me Down Easy. People were like, did you guys really do it here? I'm like, yeah, we did it. And then recently I had something called Bullet. It's called what I also call motion poetry. And I got this guy, and we're just doing the poems, and we do kind of little movie, but it's all poetry. So
but it's also real life. Bullet is real life.
Oh yes. I did see it. Matter of fact, I was just like, but I did see it. It's like it's deep.
Yeah, it is deep. It is deep, and it's worth for what. So if anybody is out there listening, type in Dianna Wright, Dianna, Wright. All right, and you can watch a lot of what she does online. And another portion of what you do, because I do want to fit it in this podcast of what this conversation today, is you went to Ghana.
Yes.
And I must have watched that over 10 to 20 times to just understand and feel the energy that was coming and emanating from that visit. Because your son was there, Chris. I believe he was the person who was videoing everything.
Yes.
And the headmistress was there saying her thing, and getting everybody to understand who you were and so forth. And then you gave a speech. It was beautiful. I again, if you type in Dianna, Dianna, you'll be able to watch that on YouTube. It is a beautiful watch where Dianna goes back to her roots. And she's letting the wonderful Ghanaian children that, we are one of the same. When you check the bloodline, Jamaicans and Ghanaians are one of the same. It was a beautiful speech. And you give back to the community of Ghana. Talk about that experience, because I'm giving too much away because I'm excited about it, and talk about that experience, how it came into your cranium to go back to Ghana. It's like when many people shirk away from going back to Africa, all of a sudden Africa is cool place to go to.
Okay, so I have lots of friends from Ghana. I met some of them on social media and so on and so forth. But I visited there in 2017 that was my first time there, just to go to check it out, and because we were talking about Ghana. And when I went there, I met this gentleman who's a broadcaster. They call him Black Rasta. He would be like the Bob Marley.
Oh my God, Black Rasta.
Close.
I used to play his poems way back, man.
Yes. Yes.
Booyaka. Sorry, yeah, man. First time I'm hearing this. Sorry, people, but continue.
Right, so Black Rasta, we talk all the time and everything. And then he said to me, he said, Dianna, because he said, what was it? Okay, so when I put out this song in this year called Ahu. It's more like a dance song. It's a very different version of me when you hear the song. So then I was advertising it on his program, because his program, he goes on the television and whole work. So he called me and he said, Dianna, we're having a show here. It would be nice if you could come and perform. It's called Hands Across Africa. So he said Eric Donaldson is going to be on there. Rock River from Jamaica is going to be on there, and a lot more of the other artists in Ghana. But I don't know how to pronounce their names, so I won't say their names. So he said, it would be nice if you're interested. We could arrange it for you. I said, okay. So lo and behold, I'm in Ghana performing on Hands Across Africa, and that was in July of this year, right? So when I was there, I have a lot of friends and good people that I know there. And one of the guys that I stayed with, him and his wife, Chris and I, but I didn't even know that they were planning this thing for me. I didn't even know. I remember one day he called me and said, Dianna, send me a nice picture when you're smiling. I'm like, what does Prince want to do with my picture? And he said, just send me a nice picture, I said, okay. So I sent him the picture, and then when we were there, he said, Dianna, there's a school I want you to go over just to see the students, because I know that they are into a lot of drama presentation, and he himself used to be in that too. So I said, okay. I thought I was just going to go there. When I went there, it was like, first of all, we were a little bit late because the place is far. So when we got there, now we were talking to the principal, and the principal said, oh, we were all waiting for you early. I'm like, waiting for me? Anyway, she said, we were waiting for you, but the students they all went back inside to their thing. And I said, okay. So she began to tell me about this little boy who his mother died, his father died. And then one day he was just there picking coconuts to help send himself to school, and the coconut fell and hit him in his eye and almost blinded him. And, he needed glasses. And the school doesn't have enough money and everything. So Chris said, then let's give him some money. So we gave them the money to.
Oh, so that was the young man in the video.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So right. So that was, so we gave them the money to, more than the money for the glasses. But then she said, okay, I'm going to call the students to come out. So I thought it was just going to be a few. It was over 3,000 students came out.
3,000.
I'm like, oh my God.
It was enormous.
Outside under the tree. And I'm like, now, first of all, I said, are we going to go in the auditorium? She laughed. She said, so you think we have auditorium? Oh? So, I said, I didn't think of it anyway. When I went, no, it was like students. I'm like, oh my God, I saw all these beautiful brown and dark skin, just I'm telling you, I want to steal all of them. And they are so mannerable. Ghanaian children, I love them. First of all, they say, hello, auntie. You want to steal and you want to say, come. And you know what was so, it's like it's bringing tears to my eyes. They had planned it all along, Prince and his teacher, this gentleman who used to teach school. And they said, we have something for you. I noticed they line out the table and we sat. And the students did a whole presentation for me. They did a whole acting, a whole drama presentation. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't expect this. It's on the YouTube channel. If you go to Dianna Wright on YouTube, you see the whole acting, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is. And then they sang for me to hear 3,000 beautiful African voices singing for you. It is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. And I'm like, Prince, you didn't tell me this. Why did you do this? And he said, Dianna, we just wanted to give you a Ghanaian welcome and let you know that Ghanaians love you. And we love what you're doing. And I was just blown away. So I don't let me cry now because
Wow, Diana, shed some tears now.
they were so beautiful.
Yeah.
I love those children. Oh my God. Oh my
It,
God. It
it,
was
it just watching, that footage. I really urge everyone to go into our channel, subscribe, and Diana again, Dianna, right. Go there and just check it out. It really is a good watch. I was overwhelmed just watching it, which is why maybe I just kept watching it again and again and again. And then every time they were overwhelmed and they started talking amongst themselves, the headmistress will say something and say something about discipline, and then everybody says discipline is something, 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 and it's like Jesus. It's
what's
like,
beautiful about that? Like when you're in school and the children are chattering and the teacher say, stop the noise or shut up. Their
yeah,
way. And this is what so beautiful. This is her way. Like the school's name is Mania Krobo Senior High. So the shortening for it is Makrasek. So when they're chattering and she says Makrasek, and all of them in a chorus they say discipline, something, 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 and then they're like, shh. They're like, if you drop a
that's
pin,
right.
I'm like,
It's like they all know the assignment.
it's so beautiful. I'm like, look at these children. I'm like, oh my God, if I could build, and in myself, I say, I want to get, when I get the money that I need, I'm going to build a school in Ghana, and I'm going to take every child. This is just me, my heart. I want to take them. I want to love them. They are so, if you ever experience just one Ghanaian child, you would just fall in love with them. They're so mannerable, so beautiful. You would love them.
Just everything that you have planned in your mind and your heart for, that place, is commendable. I really do commend you for everything that you're doing, to give back, to a community that, you're only coming in line to understanding and realizing, that, the bloodline is one of the same and so forth. It's really, really commendable, and, I really look at you as being years ahead of your time. And when I say that, when people come to comprehend what it is you've been trying to do, right? Maybe 10 years would have elapsed until they really get the real message of what you were trying to do in the first place. Make sense?
Yes.
So I really applaud you for everything that you're doing right now. There's so much to your story, but I want to come to a part of this show where we give some people some a time to ask you any questions. I know people will have some questions, and then we go
I have
back
a
into our
few.
conversation.
Yeah, there's a few in the chat.
I want to come to Petronia. I think Petronia Marshall Carey, something like that. I think that's the name. Petronia. If you're there.
Is that her niece? Is that your niece? Petronia?
That's my niece, yes.
Oh, yeah, Nisi, unmute if you're there. We'd like to give you the opportunity to ask
Absolutely.
your auntie any questions. That's if she's willing. However, she's put in the chat room, just in case she does want to unmute. She's put in some questions. One of the questions I can see is, and what are some of the life lessons that you would share with some young upcoming artists? That was one of her questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one thing I would like to share with you first, and to first tell you that it is very difficult being an artist, and it's not a downer. It's just being truthful. It's very difficult, especially if you are a female. If you are a female any at all and you have 2 breasts and you wear a skirt, it's difficult, So one of the things I'd like to tell you first is to first identify who you are as a person as an individual first, because if you don't identify yourself and define yourself, the people in the business will identify you and they will define you for you, and you will lose
Yes.
yourself in it.
Yes.
So it does, and you can't be too gullible. One of the things, I know it's like tempting because you want the bling and the promises, because a lot of times they promise you things that they can't afford. But because I grew up with my father, I wasn't short on love and respect for men and that kind of thing. And I was somebody who wanted to own and to do my own. So I work and I save my money to pay a little at the studio, little here, little there. But I mean, I could have been just sucked in by all the promises, going as a young girl, and people are saying, let me do this for you, let me do that, So yeah, if you first define yourself, first identify who you are, and don't be too gullible with everything that you see, then you'll be able to stay in your lane and keep yourself without losing your mind and without losing yourself, your individuality. That's what I'll tell them.
Yeah.
And if you're a boy, it's the same thing, because it's like there is no gender difference out there. You'd be surprised what some of the musicians in the business tell you that they experience, or if they didn't run, they would have to experience that. So there's like no line of demarcation. You have to go in there with your head held high, and if you walk out with not a song, you still leave with your head held high and your clothes and your person intact.
Kerry also wants to ask you, what were some of the obstacles you had to overcome within your career?
Okay, so the obstacles are some of those same things that I kind of
mentioned earlier. Yeah.
Right. This producer wants to do that for you. This producer wants to take you to the studio. And sometimes if you have just a little bit of sense, you kind of realize that, no, they want to get you laid most of the times, or they just want you to be like another star on their crown, so that's the reason why too I worked. I worked so I could, because all my albums I produced them. I paid gift on at the studio. My second CD I paid. There was this gentleman that I met from he came to do some business when I had my own company, and he invested. Very kind gentleman from Miami. His name is Aston Daly. I could never forget him. And he said, I really like what you're doing. So he invested some money, for me to do my second album. And that was just like a godsend, a one of a kind, right? And so, but I always worked and do for my own. So the challenges I faced was like not having enough money at the time when I wanted to. So I had to wait. So maybe I had to wait 6 months, 7 months, even a year to work and to save up, to take care of family and to put the thing out there. But I did it. Took my own time and I did it.
Is there anybody who would like to unmute and ask Dianna a question? If you are out there, just unmute and ask your question. Now is the time to do so before we move ahead with the show. We want to give you enough time to do that, so we're in no rush. But if you do want to ask a question, please unmute. Sharon Bentley, you've unmuted.
Yes, thanks, General. Blessings, Dianna. Blessings, everybody. I went to check you out, Dianna, because I got the friend of mine told me about you.
Thank you.
And I was amazed. Not only of your the things you do, how you do it. You're such a down-to-earth person that it shows on you, and then whatever you brings out come out so naturally and flawless. It doesn't matter what you do. I want to ask you, what triggered you to do Mother?
Oh, Mother, I guess it's just that, the way how I do poetry, I don't ever plan a theme or plan what I'm going to do. Poetry, I guess it's just up to the God in me. I can wake up and a vibe or an energy just bursts out of me. And that's how it came. Mother was not planned. It just came out. And when I began to write it and felt the energy that was coming from me, I actually fell in love with that part of what was flowing out of me. And so I got into that was when I became like involved in it. Other than that, I just let my poems flow. But I became involved in really constructing it when I think about myself as a mother. I think about mothers out there, how some of them are not loved or some of them are not appreciated for who they are. So, but it chose me at first, and then I became involved into writing it, completing it.
That's very beautiful. That's a beautiful poem. I love it. I also realized that there's a song that you did that you claim to be your best song, which is one of my best songs now too, and that is Big God. Can you do that for us?
I serve a big God, a mighty big God. Even the lions in the jungle obey him. He makes the lightning and the thunder behave. Yahweh is my big God. Yeah. Serve a big God, a mighty big God. Even the lions in the jungle obey him. Yeah. He makes the lightning and the thunder obey him. Oh. Yeah. That's just a little
thank you so much. It is so beautiful. I love your work, and I can only encourage you to keep on going. You have your audience, and you're getting more audience. I tell you, girl, keep on going.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharon Bentley from Germany. Bless up yourself.
Wow.
All right. Now, I particularly want to hear from Aymara. Aymara, you have to unmute now, yeah. Yeah, man. You have to unmute and you have to talk. All right. Come in, brethren.
Yes, I.
You introduced me to this wonderful human being called Dianna. So God bless you, brother. Thank you for doing that. Talk to me. Why did you do that in the first place? And what wonderful words do you want to express about this wonderful human being?
Well, chills just run through my body. Just I listen to this sister. You know what I mean? But I was reading something recently from a book named Inner Engineering by Sadhguru. And there's a line that said, love is not an action. Love is just simple who you are. And if you are that, everything that happened in your life will just manifest, right? As you are. And this man, I was just meditating, and one thing I realized about life, there's no lies in life. Life is just truthful. It's within ourselves who want to create those lies because we want to see things go a particular way. But if you just accept the reality of life, it is the most beautiful thing. So say all of that to say this, when I met this sister, you're just instant connection to our soul.
Yeah.
Just the genuineness of this sister. You know what I mean? And because I am somebody when I really mince word and, me not try get into people like that, but just vibes in her and just hear all the things and the kind of, how multifaceted and talented she is. That is one of the things. And I was looking at the industry here in Jamaica, and I say, how comes somebody with this kind of brilliance, right, still under the shadow, while some people who are not gifted as her, you know what I mean? I don't even question how old she is. And the amount of things that this sister is doing, me I tell you, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
Somebody who into building website, into doing all kind of things. I mean, she's just this great person, you know what I mean? So when me listen to her and me I say, John, me have to make this sister me 10-star general, cause just me know say is somebody like this you would have liked to have on the show. And one of the things that I would have like, and these are some of the things that I'm working on presently in my life, you know. Say, we try this journey and we have this kind of I, me principle. In the real life, there is no I. The real life is always us.
Yeah.
That is the truth about life.
Yeah.
See? Because that is what we are experiencing right now, the us. See? She and I link up, you and I link up, and right now within this space, there are other people learning from her journey.
Yes.
You know? And I know that she have learned from other people's journey and other people's story. She's talking about her father. She's talking about the beautiful experience with her father. While other girls may be talking about a bad experience with their dad. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you see the truthfulness and the diversity of life. And you know, we just want to continue to salute the sister, and she's my friend forever. You understand? Because she's just a beautiful soul, man. You know, and you know, just the next thing when we really want to commend her is not every woman can have a son, and that son there just there around her, be her producer, you know what I mean? Be her business partner. You know, the whole concept of a family union, a family in business, a family in everything.
Can I call the dots them together?
And these, just her example alone is something that we must look at. That it can happen. Just like how we sit down and talk about the Chinese and talk about the Jews or other people who do things. Well, in her own small way, she's doing all of that with her son.
Right.
And, you know, sister, that is something to be emulate. Then I don't know what else we can think about.
Yeah.
So just want people to understand the depth of this sister. She's not just a singer, but in her every action, just brilliant. You know?
Yes.
Salute you, my sister. Love you. You know me love you.
10-star salute, man.
Blessings. Thank you so much.
And you know, Amara is very, very correct. One of the things that, and I'm glad Amara said it himself, on meeting you way before this interview took place, I said to myself, have you heard of Yasso Safari? And I think you said you've heard of him. And I said to Yassos, you heard of Dianna Wright? He goes, me know of the name, you know. But you know, where's she from? And I think I said, you're Mandeville, right? Or Clarendon.
Clarendon, she's from Clarendon.
Clarendon, because I think I said to him, Mandeville. He said, we're not too sure, you know. I said, I'm going to link both of you together. And I linked them both, and everything just worked just so well. He's doing some shows, which I do believe you're coming to Jamaica to do, right?
Yeah.
Right. You know, so we were able to do that. I believe in you so much. I believe in your energy. You are what the world needs today, the healing, you know, to connect those dots together. You are part of that. That is what we are about. Even though we haven't publicly shared our mission to the world, Sharon can attest to this, and everybody who is part of this podcast. I keep saying to everyone, we are the change we need to see. And you are part of that puzzle. You know your family now, you know. You know, you can't get away from we now, you know. Real talk.
That's a blessing.
You are now officially my little sister.
That's right.
Real talk.
Give
Yeah,
thanks.
man. And I thank, you know, Bev Edwards and you know, my brother right here, Aymara, you know, who's the reggae revolutionary, you know. Trust me, I really am hopeful for the future. Just the mere fact that you, Amara, are in it, you know, there's hope for the future. So I want to thank you both, you know. Now, before we continue, is there anybody else who would like to say a few words? If there is, now is the time to unmute. If not, we're going to continue. All right. So I want to thank Dianna. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I do know there's more that we could talk about. There's so much more. And we're going to continue to bring you back at the earliest convenience. You know, we're going to bring you back to shed some light, to be a part of a group conversation, whatever it is, you know, your family. And we're always going to bring you back here. Yeah. Sharon, before we end the show, what would you like to say?
Oh, I get a chance to speak. So anyway, Dianna.
Oh my God, that was an uppercut. That was an uppercut. Cool. Sorry.
I'm fine.
Uppercut.
Let me ask you this question. Based on what Imara said and Sharon Bentley and the question, Junice, how do you feel about what you've heard about you? What people feel about you? How do you feel?
I am humbled by it. Love, respect, and honor are great attributes, and when someone tells you that this is the way they feel or think about you, it's not something to be prideful about, but it's something to be humbled about. Because when you're there's a song I have that's you're tallest when you're on your knees. So to hear them say that about me, it just gives me a good energy, a good vibe to let me know that, Dianna, okay, you're doing something right. And these people are not family, they're not like, your cousin or your auntie or so, but these are like families that you now have. And that's what I can say. So it really does make me feel good to know that someone is thinking about me this way. Someone feels this way about me. And it helps me to know that I have good people that are family, that are not my family, but still family out there. And that's just a wonderful thing. I'm so happy to have met Imara. Imara is just such a great soul. Imara and Bev, they are beautiful together. And their energy is just positive. It's positive. And of course, I thank the other lady. Her name is what's her name? The first
Sharon Bentley.
Sharon, right? I also thank you. I'm glad that you like my music, or you were affected in a positive way from just by learning about me today. I'm so thankful to the Creator for that, and for everyone else, my niece, and for those of all of those who are listening, who even if you didn't say anything, if it's even a warm fuzzy feeling that you get just from listening to us talk or from listening to my songs or poetry, I'm so glad that I was able to be a part of your life in some small way, and I give thanks to the Most High for that.
Wow. Well, let me say, what an honor it was hearing your story. I think when I was posting it, I was begging people just tune in to hear this beauty story, because I knew how deep of an individual that you are.
Thank you.
Something that Imara did say, that, for what you're doing, how is it that you're, people are not more in tuned or really know more, but honestly, how I see it, everything is in its divine timing. You're being groomed for the bigger purpose, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? What you're doing is going to be a part of the healing of the nation and nations. That is, you are the modern day healer of the nation and nations. And your light just keeps shining and shining. And whilst you may think that you're in the shadows, believe me, that light is penetrating out there for people to know who you are, because poetry was one of the first love languages, I should say, back in the day, when people don't even really know that if you're courting somebody, I mean, that's way back. If you're courting somebody, you better know if you're right. because that is going to pique the interest of that man or that woman. So it was the first love language of self-expression. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, again, don't know that, but it's a true word. And now it's just exponential. It's just keeps growing because people now know or are beginning to understand, wow, man, those words, you know what I mean? Like you're reading something out of a Bible. Like if you read the Bible a certain way, that's just poetry, right?
Yes.
You're expressing yourself with people. You can touch people in the church just by your words alone, not necessarily what's in the Bible. That speaks volumes.
Yes. Yes.
So I want to commend you because Ten Star told me about you a while ago and I was checking you out. I said, but this woman, what I'm saying, you're not normal. You're not normal at all. You're not normal. So when God created you, my sister, he broke the mold because you are the most unique young lady I have ever met. And just like my Mara said, me not for ask your age because you look like 12 anyway. I'm just saying, you're not normal. And that is the most beautiful thing about you. You are not like everybody else. And that's what your purpose is, not being normal, just doing what you are here to do. So I commend you. It has been a complete honor. It's been a complete honor talking to you. You are so humble. Your demeanor, everything is so humble.
Thank you.
Can't wait to have you back on the show because, again, Ten Stuff and you as family, we're not letting you go. That means we cannot let you go. You are part of us now.
Thank you so much.
Sharon Bentley, grab hold of her ankles. Don't let her go.
Cannot let her go. We cannot let her go. Yes. God bless you and your son and your daughter. May God continue to bless you guys on your journey. And that is what me have to say. You are welcome.
Thank you. Same to you, Sharon.
Oh my goodness. A pleasure.
I want to give you the last word. I tell you what, before we do that, because we've got about 10 minutes to go before we end the show, Sharon Bentley wants to ask you another question. She's in Germany and she says, Tenska asked Dianna about In the Company of Angels.
Okay. What does she want to know about it?
What do you want to know about it? Maybe she wants you to talk about that particular. Is it a song? There's a song, right?
It's a poem.
Everything. How it came about, what triggered that.
You got 10 minutes. Go for it.
All right. So it was just as I was compiling the book, I'm gonna show you. This is just this is the book called Conqueror's Quest, and In the Company of Angels. This is just my way when I was writing that. Like I said earlier, thoughts just come to me, and it was just the way how I felt, how the Creator took the time to protect us. He has these. It's just his powers, the angels that are the powers that be, that just guides you from faults and pitfalls and all of the things that you escape from. You might thought, okay, it's my own wit and my own knowledge, but God has these angels, that just guide you and just divert your feet from traps and snares. And that was just my expression to him of how I think that he protects and guides me. Yeah.
That makes sense.
It does make sense. A lot of sense. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you so much.
I want to come back to Dianna. Please give people information on where they can follow you, your social media platforms and all that kind of stuff. Where can everybody find you?
Okay, so on Instagram, I am Empress Dianna. And again, my Dianna spells with 2 N's, like you have been saying. So just Empress Dianna, that you will find me on Instagram. And also on YouTube, you'll find me as Dianna Wright, my Dianna, DIANNAWRIGHT. And when you go there, you will see the you'll see the logo. I think no, that's not it. I was going to show you something, but you'll see my songs. I'm there with my hair kind of all curled out in the picture, and you will hear my songs. So that's Dianna Wright on YouTube. And we have a website where you can get all our music to buy and some of the poems, which is 16 bars. That's 16 bars, the M. So that's 2 M's. That's 16 barsmm.com. And this is what it looks like. If you go to the website, you'll see this logo and you will see. So it is 16 barsmm.com. That's where you can go. You can get all our latest music, everything about us. And 16 Bars is the name of the company that we have. So you can contact us there or anything.
Are you on Facebook?
Yes, on Facebook too, as Dianna Wright saying.
Dianna Wright, okay.
Yes, just remember to put the 2 N's in Dianna.
Yeah. All right. And okay, so she's on Facebook as well. So we'll be putting out that information. We'll be putting in the links when we edit the show and put it out on YouTube. Dianna, anything you would like to say to anybody out there who's coming into the industry? Just share a few, words, that will empower anybody who might want to come into this industry. Share a few words before we end the show.
So for those of you who are coming into the industry, always, like I said earlier, know yourself. You have to plan before you even sing a note. Have your line of demarcation drawn. Know who you are. Because if you don't, they will take your identity, meaning that they will make you into something else. You notice every artist, especially the female artists, they come up there, they're kind of like strip naked. They're showing, parts of their body. That has nothing to do with music. If you can sing, you can sing. If you can't, you can't. It has absolutely nothing to do with music.
Dianna,
and
will and come again. Say it again.
Sister. Yes, yes. If you are a guy, they're going to tell you to, as I'm saying, Jamaica, chuck badness, because that sells. It does not sell anything more than the license plates you're going to make in prison. You understand? So don't just be firm in yourself and don't be greedy. A lot of the things you see out there that you think artists have a lot of money, even a lot of the artists in Jamaica or even over here, they're not getting all the money you think they're getting, because some of it is contract. And they get the money over time. So just because you see someone pushing down a nice car or whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean that they own the car. Trust me. If you want to see people who own what they have, go to Africa, because there's no credit system. There's no this, there's no that. Everything, even if an African person has a hand card, they own the card. If they have an iPhone, they own the iPhone. If they have a piece of broke up phone, they own it, because the kind of credit system you have here, they don't have there. Their house, they own it. Most of the time, us here, you're paying a mortgage, but get sick one day if you're there and not able to pay it, you lose it. You understand? You have to find structure and purpose within yourself first. And that's the truth about it. Don't watch what other people are doing, because most of the time they can just cut you out of a deal. Look at what they're doing to Kanye West. Like this, you just have to have your head on your body and have some, as I say, you have to have a foundation in yourself and know that if they don't give me this, as I say, I'm supposed to do this. If you don't do it, know you have something firm you can stand on. And just be yourself.
It's so funny that you say what you say, because, even though we're going to end the show right now, just very quickly, I had a conversation with a top soul artist, and when she signed with a major record label, one of the 2 things they asked her to do, right, was to change the color of her skin and get some liposuction done.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Right.
Oh my.
So if you sign the wrong contracts, you're really going on a free fall to danger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I'm happy to say, in addition to what I just said, she refused to do either of them. And she's still a top name.
Okay. See? Yeah, you got to be yourself.
But you see, some people would definitely sell their soul for the money.
That's true. That's true.
Thank you for your words of wisdom. Sharon, you take us out.
You're welcome.
Greetings and blessings to everyone who tuned in today. I know some of your minds were blown. I know some of your minds, not your minds, but you were inspired by Dianna's transparency. An amazing woman. We're going to say in front of you and behind you, a wicked, amazing Black woman with power and strength that the Most High has given you. Thank you for coming. Thank you all for joining the show. This was powerful. I love her. Can't let you go. You're my new sister. May adapt, you know. Just how it is. 10 stars, General.
Hold on to her shin bones. Don't let Dianna go.
We're going to hold on tight.
We're gonna get out of here. If you are free tomorrow, same time, same place, 4 p.m. if you're in the UK, 11 a.m. If you're in the eastern region like New York, Florida, New Jersey, Jamaica, 11 a.m. Join us as our guest will be the legendary Glenn Washington.
Washington.
All right?
Yes.
Join us, and you'll be able to ask him a question also. So we're going to get out of here with this song, and this song was requested by Sharon Bentley Pike in Germany. All right?
Gone are the days when your arms were my bed, reminiscing those tender years of bliss, when a day with you I thought I'd never miss. But the gray years rolled in. Now your arms have become too small a bed for me to lay in. But in your heart, I have found a safer place. Diary full of endless pages where I have nestled and entrusted greater things. Oh, Mother, could I count those tears that you have cried? Could I have prevented you from expressing that sigh? Can I repay you, or at least try? My efforts would be only a mere spark in the dark. Can I outgrow the need for a mother's love? And would I have given my all if I now ask her, Mother, please share my arms? Will I be blessed with the splendor of grace when nature's silver fingers comb the midnight spill of my hair? And if I could, Mother, I'd need you there. Can the mother's love be replaced? Can her gentle, forgiving ways be erased? Then to what dimension does a mother's love expand? Unlimited as the boundless kind. Woman, mother, it is your stubborn love that molds me, your tough love that corrects me, and your gentle love that protects me. Woman, mother, this child that you have born is a testament of your strength. And I didn't know that your tiny feet were big enough to fit the shoes of a father too. Woman, mother, classic work of art no connoisseur could ever evaluate. Woman, mother, the epitome of unending love.
That's all, folks. Well, that's all, folks. That's my line. Never mind, babe. Let a star do this. That's all. That's all, folks.
Can I go home now?
I'm 10-Star General from Starcade Promotions, and I'm out of here. If you enjoy the content we provide on this YouTube channel, then why not help us by subscribing to SPRB Radio Podcast? Thank you in advance.